Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another action-packed edition of Dark Powerrr, covering, well, almost everything that happens on Tuesdays when it comes to wrestling, whether it's AEW Dark, NWA, and UWN Primetime Live. Now, before we get started, guys, remember, we gotta hit that like button, gotta comment, gotta share, we gotta subscribe. If you like what we're doing, if you don't like what we're doing, please let us know in the comments. That's something that we truly appreciate. You know, we wanna always recognize our fans. We always want to recognize our viewers. Those are the people who we are empowered by. We are powered by you, the viewer, and we appreciate everything that you do for us. Now, we don't have a lot to talk about in that sense because NWA Shockwave was showing older matches. It was Allison Kay versus Nicole Savoy, which was on an earlier episode of UWN Primetime Live, as well as Pope and Pope and Watts versus Zicky Dice and a mystery partner that we would find out is Effie, and of course Aaron Stevens and Trevor Murdoch for the NWA National title, which at the time was the Third Degree National title. Now, these matches are good. I think the best one out of the bunch is the opener that they would show on Shockwave, but the tag match was very good as well. Zicky Dice is a talent, as well as Watts. We've seen him on AEW Dark. Effie, I've seen live at Freelance, and Pope, we know his long history. So I won't bore you too much with going into those matches because we've already covered them here on Dark Powerrr, and you can always go back into the archives and check that out. But let's talk about things that we haven't talked about already, and that is, of course, AEW Dark. Now, there were a bunch of matches, some quick, some a little bit longer, as is the case on Dark, and we have some pretty good matches here. I will say that some of the ones that stood out to me was Shida versus Kylan King. I definitely liked that one because not only was it a strong win for our Full Metal champion, Hikaru Shida, but also we got to see Abaddon confront Shida yet again and put the fear of God into Shida and hold that AEW Women's Championship. Abaddon is coming for it, and she is ready for it. So Shida, champion of my heart, but you gotta look out, girl, because Abaddon is coming for you. She is coming for you, and Shida has done a very good job of keeping the women's division in AEW afloat while we wait for Statlander to come back, while we wait for Britt to get more into the ring, and while they really try to acclimate Thunder Rosa more. Speaking of Thunder Rosa, speaking of Britt Baker, we will be having appearances from them a little bit later, but before we do that, I do want to touch on the opener, which was Starks and Sothera Chun, hoping I'm not butchering that, but Starks, what I liked about this match was not the match itself, but how it ended. This was a match where Starks won with a spear. Normally, he's hitting that Rochambeau to pick up the win, and we've talked here on Dark about how he needs to develop some kind of other finisher that will work, because getting bigger guys up for the Rochambeau can be difficult, especially when you're going further into the weeds in a match. So the fact that he is now utilizing a spear a little bit more, I kind of like that. And I want to see, because Chun was a guy who, despite being speared in half by Starks, he is not a was, he is still a is, he didn't die. But Chun is a guy who is more on Starks' size still when it comes to overall appearance, height, weight, all that kind of stuff. I want to see this spear be used against somebody more like Will Hobbs. Maybe not exactly Will Hobbs. More like Will Hobbs, more like Dustin Rhodes, people who are taller and bigger than Ricky Starks. That's something that I'm looking forward to. The waiting room segment was pretty good, actually. A lot shorter than it was last week. We thought we were going to get another musical guest, Marco Stunt. He tried to jump the gun, so to speak, when it came to when he was supposed to appear, and that angered Sean Spears, who was the guest. Both have alliteration, that's why. Got to me for a second, but it upset Sean Spears, who was the actual guest for Britt Baker. And the second time that Marco Stunt, Sean just, reached for the door without thinking it's Marco Stunt. And now the other alliteration guy comes in, Scorpio Sky. This is a feud that has been brewing between the two of them, and good just to see them, stoking the coals of the fire, keeping that momentum going. You know, last week on Dynamite, they had the two of them or 2 weeks ago on Dynamite, sorry, they had the two of them with the the Diamond Battle Royale, and they just stared at each other instead of getting in the ring and trying to face off with each other. So now, you know, they're not giving them that match yet, but they are stoking the coals. They are keeping that flame alive in the hearts and minds of many who want to see Scorpio Sky and Shawn Spears tangle, myself included. I'm assuming that match will happen sometime during the holiday special. I think that whether it's the holiday special next week or the two New Year's episodes, I think that's when that will happen. I would lean more towards the New Year's episodes, just to give one last push on the holiday episode of Dynamite for Spears and Sky. After this, something else that I liked was Anna Jay versus Danny Jordan. I swear to God, you would not, if you didn't know any better, you would not think that Anna Jay is a couple weeks into her second year as a professional wrestler. She has developed incredibly well. And she seems like somebody who is more in their, say, fourth, fifth, maybe even sixth year. She knows how to work very well. She knows how to play to the camera. She is a shining example of QT Marshall's training and what can happen if you work with QT Marshall. And I'm pretty sure he is stoked about that. After this, there is something else that stood out to me was, speaking of Britt Baker on The Waiting Room, she did talk about Thunder Rosa. And later, during Leva Bates and Skylar Moore's match, while the match wasn't super important, what was important was having Thunder Rosa on commentary. That is something that was really important, and I think will lead to things down the road, shall we say, for Dynamite between Rosa and Britt Baker. Something else that stood out to me was another Dark Order match where Evil Uno and Stu Grayson took on Bear Country. This was a really great match. It had Peter Avalon on commentary, and I liked this match. It was kind of the match of the night to me, besides this and a match that we will get to in a little bit. But really great match. Another highlight is a potential Dark Order member, Ty Conti versus Freya States. This was a really great David versus Goliath match, or I guess maybe Gail Kim Awesome Kong match, to create a analogy that many of you would know in the world of women's wrestling. It is a small person versus a much larger person, and I really liked how they highlight Ty Conti, or how Ty Conti highlights her own judo background when it comes to grappling, when it comes to submission holds. She tries to put different holds on her opponent. Freya States, too large, too big, too imposing, and how will Ty Conti figure out a way? And what I like about it is it's showing an increased level of viciousness. Also, if you will notice, Ty Conti's appearance when it comes to her outfit, her makeup, her demeanor has slowly shifted more and more and more towards mimicking or echoing Anna Jay's. And that is an interesting continuation of the Dark Order influence, shall we say, on Ty Conti. Finally, what the last two matches stood out to me was Ivelisse versus Casey Lennox. I liked that one. And Best Friends versus Chaos Project, our main event. Anytime you have Best Friends on Dark, which they have been on Dark before, they were the Dark MVPs back during the QT Marshall training facility episodes of Dark and Dynamite. But anytime you have them on here, it's always a treat. Best Friends, one of the best tag teams in the world. Top 10 to me. They do a very good job in the ring, and Chaos Project, nothing really to slouch about. They are slowly building that chemistry, Serpentico, John Cruz, and Luther. They are slowly getting better and better as they work more and more in the ring. This was a good match to keep Best Friends in the hunt and to keep their momentum going as they show down with Miro and Kip Sabian. And lo and behold, Dark goes off the air after a Best Friends win with Miro coming out to confront them. So overall, I thought this was a really good episode of AEW Dark. It kind of kept a lot of storylines moving with Shida Abaddon, Scorpio Sky, Spears, with Britt, Thunder Rosa, and Best Friends and Miro. It also continued different things. We've seen Anna Jay's influence on Ty Conti. We saw The Acclaimed and how they're going to be facing off against SCU on Dynamite. And I think overall it was a pretty good episode. I liked how they're pacing things now. They went, really big, giving us more than 2 hours worth of matches on multiple episodes back to back to back. Now they've scaled it down a little bit. This episode was just under 2 hours. It was an hour and 53 minutes. And I think that's kind of a nice sweet spot for Dark. If they're going to turn this show, if what we're seeing right now is the third show, it just hasn't been changed, the name hasn't been changed into the third show, I think this is a very good pace. I think it's a good amount of time. They are adding in that waiting room segment, like we keep seeing now. I want to see more of that. I'd like to see. I know I think I talked about it last week. The red velvet cooking thing. Maybe that's, you can't really step on Brandy's spot. Congratulations to the Rhodeses, by the way, for the announcement of the pregnancy of Brandy Rhodes. There's going to be the son or daughter of the son of a plumber, and that's just an amazing thing to continue. That line of wrestling greatness, and there is more than one royal family in wrestling, and that is definitely the Rhodes. But I think that they have a lot of work to do still with Dark. One thing that they really got to do, and I guess this depends on when they're filming this, is they got to put more people around the ring. When Anna Jay is beating up on Danny Jordan and it's on the outside of the ring, there's like 4 people on that side of the ring in the audience. The immediate audience that we can see. And I don't think Dark is being taped in front of the live crowd for Dynamite. So to, just reduce the number of people in the arena for COVID reasons. So maybe they, the guys and gals who are there to compete, they've been tested. Get more of them out there. They used to have a lot of them out there. Now they've reduced the number. I really hope that they can, bolster that up a bit, just because it adds something to the presentation of the show that I think is missing. You always want to see a live crowd. That's something that's been bringing down Ring of Honor since they came back. It's, you miss those people. You miss a Ring of Honor crowd. You know what a Ring of Honor crowd is. You know what it should sound like. You know what it brings to the table. And that's something that I think they need to work on. Besides that, the other thing that they need to work on outside of having more people in the crowd is just more segments. More segments, and putting the segments better, chopping them up better, because there are matches where Anthony Ogogo is on commentary. Then he won't be on commentary for like 2-3 matches. Then he'll suddenly be back on commentary for a match, and then he won't be on commentary again. And I get that, they're filming it in order, obviously. It's not as though Anthony Ogogo showed up for one match, he left for 15-20 minutes to get a drink of water, came back and did another commentary for another match. That wouldn't make sense. So why they're cutting it and putting it in that order, I don't necessarily know, but that is something that Dark definitely needs to improve on. It's jarring to me. Now, granted, I'm looking at it with a very discerning eye because I'm trying to see where they can improve and the things that they are doing well, but it's one of those things that, I don't know, they probably should improve upon down the road. But anyway, guys, until next time, stay safe, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I will catch you.